Ridgely Theater in Fort Worth had the biggest day in its entire history. Are you glad you saw it? Yeah.
Alien came out in 1979, and though it had some mixed reviews at first, it gained a cult-like following that people say to this date is the scariest movie out there, or the best horror film. Something along those lines. Directed by Ridley Scott and written by Dan
O'Bannon.
Fire name, by the way. It was a box office success. Alien won many awards and was deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress and was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry. Whoa. Then, in 1987, there was
Predator.
Originally written in 1984 under the name Hunter, Predator finally came out to theaters in '87 with a $15 million budget, and it ended up making $98 million in just the US alone. But it was also met with some mixed reviews. Nowadays, this film is more or less viewed as a classic in the sci-fi and action genres, and one of the best films that the 80s has to offer. Today, we're going to talk about these films and break them down, and figuring out which of the two is the better first film. Did I like them? Did I hate them? Watch more to find out. All right, let's get into the business. Alien starts off with text saying that we are on a cargo ship, spacecraft thing, called Nostromo, which I originally read as Nosotros. So there's that. We're delivering cargo in space, so fun. We get introduced to the crew members as they wake up from a hibernation type sleeping mechanism, alerting them that there has been a SOS signal. We have Captain Dallas, Executive Officer Kane, Warrant Officer Ripley, Navigator Lambert, Science Officer Ash, and Engineers Parker and Brett. They are required by law to check on the SOS signal and make sure everybody's all right, even though some of the crew members put up a fight and they think that they are not on duty to do that and they are just on duty to deliver cargo. But eventually, with some bickering, they land and they go to investigate. They stumble upon an abandoned alien ship, and in it they find a dead alien life form. I will now bring up my first complaint. I watched this movie on a 40-some inch screen TV in my bedroom, and I could not see anything. I don't know what it is, but I just couldn't see. They would have an image on screen, and I would not be able to tell you if it was big or large or really anything about it. The problem with that is that I can tell that they spent a lot of time on the practical effects and the props in the movie, but I can't see them. Maybe that's just me, but oh well, just a little complaint. I also feel like the ship is literally the set from the Millennium Falcon. It literally looks exactly like the Millennium Falcon in some scenes, and I don't know if there's any correlation, but that's just something I noticed. The main computer of the ship is called Mother, which confused me while watching the movie until I pulled my head out of my ass and actually listened for a second. Mother translated the signal further, and she discovers that it was not an SOS signal, and it was rather a warning, which I feel like are on two opposites of the board and should not be mixed up, but hey, here we are. Kane is lurking around on the alien ship and he finds some eggs. Uh-oh. He kind of pokes at the eggs and messes around with them and kind of looks at them until one starts hatching, and he finds out the hard way that he should have left the eggs alone. One of the eggs hatches and attaches to his face. While unconscious, Lambert and Dallas carry him back to the ship, but Ripley will not open the door. She doesn't want to do this because then it'll be breaking the quarantine laws. The two outside of the ship fear that Kane won't make it in time because they're supposed to wait for a while, but Ripley doesn't budge. She feels bad, but them's the rules, man. Ash then overwrites the door and lets them in regardless. That decision may cost some lives, but we'll see. We return back to space and Ash tries to get the creature off of Kane's face, but he stops once he realizes that the blood from it is acidic and it burns straight through the floor. But don't worry, it stops once it reaches the second level. The creature dies and then Kane wakes up with no damages other than some memory loss. They decide to eat some food before returning back on the path to Earth until Kane starts choking on some food. He starts to freak out and then an alien bursts out of his chest. This kills him and the alien is now loose on the ship as it runs away. Kane's body gets released into space and we search for the silly little guy. Brett goes on and looks for the cat. I forgot to mention that there was a cat. The cat is named Jones. Whenever Brett goes to reach out for the cat, the alien is right behind me, isn't he? And we see that the alien is completely fully grown, and yeah, it takes Brett's body. The alien has been using the air ducts to move around, which means that it should be fairly easy to kill. So Dallas heads up there with a flamethrower. They somehow have a tracking device on it. I must have been checking my phone whenever they mentioned that, because I don't remember that, but hey, apparently they have that. The alien starts making its way towards Dallas and eventually kills him. Lambert then says that we should leave via an escape pod, and yes, that is definitely what we should do, but Ripley says no because it won't hold 4 people. We then find out through Mother, the computer, that Ash is on a secret mission to bring the alien back alive for studying. That little bastard. Riley confronts Ash about this, and they get into a little fight until Parker intervenes and he hits him in the head. But there's something odd about this. His head completely flies off. Listen, Parker, you look like a strong guy and all, but I don't think Mortal Kombat fatality level strong. Ash turns out to be actually a robot. Ash's head gets rebooted and he says that the alien is unkillable, while at the same time taunting them on their chances of survival. After this, Ripley then, turns off the head and then leaves the building while Parker lights it on fire. We finally decide that we can now go into an escape pod because 4 people is too much, but 3, just right. Parker and Lambert go to retrieve supplies before they leave on the shuttle, or the escape pod, whatever. But then they get ambushed by the alien and they die. Riley is now our final girl with her pal Jones, and they escape into an escape pod. The ship is on self-destruct mode, so it explodes, and we are safe to go back to slumber mode until we see the alien in the escape pod with us. Ripley quietly makes it into a spacesuit and flushes the alien into space, which looks hella goofy and hilarious. Then she returns on her path to Earth. And that's Alien. I want to quickly, before we go into Predator, talk about one thing that I loved about this movie and one thing that I hated about this movie. So here it is. Overall, I loved the quietness of the movie. I thought that, whenever we're lurking around the spaceship and there's not like music just flooding out the whole scene, I really like that. I think it adds to the atmosphere. I think it adds to the spookiness of it. I don't need a eerie violin to tell me that I should be scared right now. And I think that's really cool. Kind of, because whenever stuff like that happens, it kind of takes me out of it, honestly. One thing that I hate is that I just couldn't see very much in the movie. Obviously, you don't see the alien very much. You see it like only a handful of times. People can say, oh, well, that's on purpose, because whenever in horror movies you see the villain or the spooky creature, then it takes you out of it and it's no longer scary. And I can totally get behind that. But like the things on like, I want to see the alien ship, I could tell they put a lot of work in it, so I want to see it. At least a little bit more clearly. I want to see the pure scale and the emptiness of the whole thing. Or even like the weird textures on the walls, because there's a lot of that. Just simple stuff like that. Okay, Predator. This is Dutch. Dutch has a military rescue team. Dutch gets an assignment to rescue someone in an unspecified South American country. He meets a war friend that he met in Vietnam, and then they create a meme template that I love oh so much.
You son of a bitch.
Before they take off, we get a lot of lore that honestly I couldn't keep up with. Just a whole bunch of military stuff, and it's kind of like, I'm just trying to see some Predator action. And I didn't mean we discover a helicopter that has been crash bandicoot. And below it are 3 soldiers that are dead and have been skinned alive. Or actually, I don't know if they've been skinned alive, but they've been skinned. These men are a part of a military group and they should not have been there. So Dutch has no idea why they were there. They were not ordered to be there. So this makes Dutch very suspicious on the intentions of our buddy Dylan. Hey, Dylan. If you guys know that TikTok, valid.
Oh, Dylan.
Anyways, Dylan works for the CIA, but Dutch doesn't know that yet, or there was something like that. Dylan has been lying. Hey, Dylan. All right, I'm sorry. He wanted Dutch to come and fight these people, but He knows that he wouldn't have agreed if he told him the actual circumstances, so he made up a story, and he put everyone's life at danger, so Dutch is mad at him. They find a camp executing one of the hostages, and they attack. After destroying the camp and all the people inside of it, Dutch finds out the truth about the mission and that he was called so they can stop a Soviet invasion and not a rescue mission. As I was just saying, they find out that he was lying and pretty much he's putting everyone at risk. And Dutch does not want to fight anymore. He already fought in the war and he's done with that. He just wants to rescue people. The people they found earlier were Green Berets and had the same task, but ultimately failed. There was only one survivor from the camp and her name is Anna, and we take her. For some reason, we keep on tracking. While this goes on, we see through the enemy's vision that we are being tracked by a cloaked individual that has thermal vision. Probably a bug or something. Billy gets a glimpse of it and is freaked out. Anna tries to escape, but gets caught by this guy here named Hawkins. He gets killed by the predator while Anna is left alive. Dutch is now on the look for this creature. Blaine, who is this guy, gets killed by a plasma cannon mounted on the shoulder of the predator, and it's pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. Blaine was Mac's friend, who is this fella, and they blindly shoot into the forest, which actually injures the predator. And then after this, the predator put on a med kit. It's kind of funny. They go to set up camp for the night and make traps. Up until this point, nobody has believed Anna because all she has said is that the person that killed Hawkins was a part of the jungle and the jungle killed him, which it's like, duh, they're not gonna believe you. Just say he's like camouflage or something. I understand she didn't know it was like a person, but like still, I mean, there's a better way to word that. Dutch figures that she is the only one that has seen it, so he lets her free since at this point she's just as much in danger as we are. We then cut to the trap working and catching the predator, but he escapes and one of the tree logs that they set up to crush him ends up crushing, what's his name? Poncho? Yeah, the tree hits Poncho. Return of the Jedi, Battle of Endor, Ewok gas trap. Mac and Dylan go to chase after the predator, but they are outsmarted, outgunned, and outplayed as the predator sends them to the Lord. We make a run for it, but the pred catches Poncho. Billy decides that he's going to face a creature alone and dies. Duh. What? I liked Billy too, so it was a shame to see him go in such a Mickey way. Dutch finds out that the predator doesn't like to fight without a challenge, so he tells Anna to get to the chopper, and he stays. I also don't know when they called the chopper. Once again, must have fell asleep or something, because I don't remember them ever getting the chance where the people are like, all right, yeah, we can come pick you up now. But it also brings up the question, couldn't Dutch just put his gun down? Or does the predator still, like, he remembers that Dutch had a weapon, that he killed people? That's why the predator still is trying to kill Dutch? I don't know. It's kind of weird. While running away from the chopper so Anna can escape, Dutch falls into the water and gets covered in mud. This makes it hard for the predator to see Dutch. Dutch makes a bunch of primal-like weapons and traps and ambushes the predator at night. He gets the predator in water, which disables the cloaking mechanism, and Dutch eventually also gets into water, removing the mud. But the predator takes off his mask and the plasma cannon since he sees him as a worthy opponent to fight hand-to-hand combat. Honorable fighter. I like it. The predator beats the piss out of Dutch, but Dutch eventually crawls his way to a trap that he made earlier, but the predator sees it. You know, he's not playing around with these dumb little games. So what does he do? He walks around the trap. But Dutch still sets off the trap because the counterweight comes down and still smashes the predator, so. Predator then gets crushed. Dutch then goes to finish him off, pause, and kind of waits for a little bit as he looks into the predator's eyes and thinks, maybe you're not so bad. He asks the predator what it is. The predator kind of responds back and says the same thing, kind of like slurs it. Predator emits a self-destruct bomb and then Dutch runs away. While he runs, he can hear the predator laughing, which is kind of goofy, kind of creepy. Apparently, this is Billy's laugh from earlier because there are some scenes kind of implying that he can mimic people. So apparently this is Billy's laugh from earlier, but I didn't notice it. If it is true, that's pretty sick. Barely escaping, Dutch finally finds the chopper, gets on it, and sees Anna. We zoom in on his face that it is clear that he is happy that it's over, but traumatized from it. He also said in the movie earlier that he's trying to forget Vietnam whenever it's brought up again. So maybe this implies that even though he tries to forget war, it always comes back to him. I don't know, just a speculation. Top thing that I liked about this movie was the Predator itself. Are you kidding me? That mofo is badass. He has all the weapons, can mimic things. He's an honorable fighter. What more do you want? He also collects skulls. That's badass too. Top thing I hated was all the yip yap about military business.
Boring.
I don't care, I'm sorry. I think the movie is so much better if it's like, we're on a military rescue mission. There's a thing chasing us. We can't retreat because it's too dangerous of an area. What are we gonna do now? I think it's just way more, just keep it simple, you know what I mean? I feel like there's just too much stuff included in there, I don't know. The kills in Alien were more off-screen than anything. Kane dies, and it's one of the most memorable scenes in horror and sci-fi movies, so that kind of puts a lot of pressure on Predator. But the rest aren't really anything crazy. Ash would probably be the next runner-up, but that's because his head gets knocked off and there's all kinds of gross stuff inside of him. In Predator, there's also a lot of off-screen deaths, but the plasma gun's cool. Pretty cool. I like that, but the others weren't anything too much to write home on. I think, honestly, I'm just gonna have to give it to Alien because of the chest burst alone. I mean, it's badass. Everyone knows that. As far as story goes, Alien is a lot more slower, but not by a long shot because the Predator is also slow. I will say that I was a lot more bored in the beginning to middle section of Predator, but the third act really pulled me in. I really like the fight between Dutch and the Predator, so there's that. But I think I'm still gonna give it to Alien though, because I find myself more intrigued with the suspense side of it, and I don't know, the whole time I was fairly intrigued. This is simple. Predator is in the woods, Alien is in a spaceship. Alien wins though, because whenever we're on the alien ship, the vastness and the creepiness of it is just really cool, even though it's hard to see, of course. I like the heavy wind in the ship itself, the main ship. It's also really cool looking. I like the fact that we are trapped in there with the alien, while in Predator, you know, it's the woods. I mean, there really is a way out, you know what I mean? I don't know. Alien wins again. The dialogue is a lot more cheesy in Predator, which, you know, I think is hilarious and awesome. But the extra weight of the military stuff and Mac and Blaine's friendship that gets randomly thrown on us in there, I don't really like that. I feel like Alien once again just had a more simple dialogue with fun and intriguing arguments that make you question your own morals and decision-making abilities. Once again, Alien wins. I did not think Alien would win most of these, but here we are. Let's talk about it. Both of these movies barely show the creatures. I don't like that for the most part, but Predator shows a lot more. The Predator's face looks super sick, but the cloaking mechanism looks booty cheeks. I hate to say it, but it's true. The alien looks super cool, and there really is no visual effects, so that helps. I want to give it to the Predator just based on the looks of the creature alone, but it would be unfair to Alien because they had killer practical effects and details. The chest burst and Ash's death are awesome, and Kane's face grab scene. Not to mention the set design, pretty sick, especially for 79. Scariness. Now, both of these movies really aren't necessarily scary to me nowadays. I'm sure back then I'd probably be shitting bricks, but as of right now, it doesn't really, you know, do that much for me. I see it more as a sci-fi thriller than horror in my eyes. Alien is a lot more horror inspired than Predator, but I think both aren't really all that scary as movies. If I had to pick one, I would say that Alien is probably scarier because of the suspense it has. Kind of like the, I don't know where it is, but I know it's in here type of deal, but not really by a long shot. Yes, next question. I'm just joking. Partially. I think I can beat Alien, man. Come on. I'm sorry, but I think if I had my energy drink for the day, and I think if I had a good night's rest the night before, I don't know, man. Give me a shield and a sword and I'm with it. Predator, on the other hand. Now, he got me, I ain't gonna lie. He's just too OP, man. Unless I have something to smother my body heat in and some sort of long-range weapon, preferably a blaster, kind of like how he has on his shoulders, then maybe. Otherwise, I think I'm fucked, honestly. Wouldn't even really be close. I definitely thought Predator would win, but after reviewing both of them, I do think that Alien is the winner here. Alien wins, you guys. Let me know in the comments on what you thought about these two movies whenever you first saw them, or let me know if you agree with my decisions and the things I said in it. I always love reading about your guys' experiences and just opinions, so have at it, and bye-bye.